In this video, I'm going to talk about inputting miles into Expensify on your phone. So again, to begin, we open the Expensify app, and really the only option we have when we're on the My Expenses tab are these three bars at the top left or the plus sign. The plus sign allows us to create a new expense. In this case, we're going to manually create the distance. There's two other options in Expensify. There's odometer reading, which is essentially you putting in the starting odometer and the ending odometer from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, or starting your GPS, which is another way of tracking your miles. I personally have not really used that before. I think it can be a little clunky because you may not always be able to count miles as reimbursable. For instance, as I mentioned in another video, To Be Living cannot pay for miles driven from your home directly to the office or the office directly to your home. So be sure to not input those miles as reimbursable. So again, in this video, we're really just going to focus on the first one here, manually create. So I go ahead and click that, and you see here I have the page that you're used to when you see it on the computer. I've got the plus sign here that I can open. This really just allows me to take a picture or go through my photos. So in this case, not that helpful because you don't really need a receipt for your miles. Now, on the computer, as I showed in another video, you can actually create a map, which is quite helpful. But if you're not using it on the phone, which is practical, you don't really have that option. So in this case, we're just going to have to know how many miles we traveled. So I know that when I go to the Amador, it's about 13 miles round trip. So in this case, I'm going to put 26 miles. It has the units of miles. We obviously don't need to change that. Mileage rate is done for us. This trip, if I need to change it, I click on the date and then I can adjust it. If it was yesterday or some other day. Be sure to do this though if you're inputting your miles at the end of the week, which I don't really suggest you do because you're probably going to end up forgetting. I suggest you do it at the end of the day. However, if it is something you do at the end of the week, be sure that you adjust the date for each of those miles requests. They're not all coming in on the same day or the day that you're inputting it. But in this case, today's date is the date that I drove to the Amador. So I'm going to keep that there. Category, fuel, mileage, tolls were good to go. To and from, so I went from my home to Amador, back to my home. And you're done, right? No, not so fast. More options. Let's go and click that. Now we've got property name. When it's miles, it goes to the company, To Be Living Company, that fills out the unit automatically. Attendees and report we can leave as is. Now this is a reimbursable expense. The company is going to be paying you back. So we take billable off, we add reimbursable, and then we're done. We can double check our work. We got 26 miles total distance. It happened today. It's fuels. Comment on where I went. Property name is To Be Living Company, and it's a reimbursable expense. So I go ahead and save that, and expense created on the bottom. I give it a moment to make sure that it gets updated, and there we see it at the top of the page, 26 miles.